MTV. Truth, love, and creativity.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Ask Reuben Kigame. I am Nancy Karua. Reuben.
Yes, Nancy.
There's a question that so many people are asking, and one is saying,
Yeah.
I am a musician.
Yeah.
How do I get my talent recognized?
Yeah, how do I get my talent recognized? How do I get my music known by people?
Yes.
How do I get my music played on radio or
Exactly.
TV? This is a very common question, Nancy.
Yeah.
I would like to echo what Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 29 says.
Okay.
It says, do you see a man that is skilled at his work? He will serve before kings.
Wow.
Now, this is a proverb that is very profound. It means that skill is critical if you want to be recognized with your talent.
True.
I'm reminded of another obscure verse actually in 1 Chronicles 15:22. The Ark of the Covenant is being brought to Jerusalem, and David is dancing and celebrating with the priests and the musicians.
Yes.
And then there is something that is said in 1 Chronicles 15:22. It says, Kenania, or Kenaniah, Kenania was chosen to be, was appointed to lead the music.
Sure.
And it says because he was skillful at it. And I hear David again saying in the Psalms, you know, play skillfully,
Okay.
you know, on the harp to the Lord, you know. So skill is very critical if you want to be recognized.
Wow.
It means that if you have a songwriting talent, you are a spoken word artist, you are a rapper, you are you know, someone who paints on the canvas,
Yes.
or you are someone who works with your hands, you know, to carve objects into a stool like this one. You see,
piece of art.
Yes, a piece of art.
Yes.
You work at being so good at it, that way people will just recognize you.
Sure.
There is a Swahili saying that goes, chema chajiuza, kibaya chajitembeza.
I like
You know,
that.
a good thing sells itself.
Oh yes.
A bad thing, you know, needs to roam about a little bit before it's sold. You know, it's like it's hard work to sell something that is
hard.
not that good.
You have to push.
And yeah, and by the way, I tell people that come to record at my studio at Kigame Media, I tell them,
Yes.
if you have a good song, I can make it better.
True.
But if your song has issues,
Yes.
I cannot improve your problems.
True,
Yeah.
true.
You know, a lot of people come to me and say, you know, I have a problem with singing flat. Can you straighten? And of course we can do it mechanically, but it sounds horrible. Once I can just say, work at your talent, be so good at it, you'll end up being recognized by people. I remember King David when he was a small boy,
Yes.
you know, out in the field, just looking at, you know, after the sheep. And there's a time that King Saul had a psychological problem. And, you know, they looked for a man in Israel that could play the harp skillfully. And they landed on David. I mean, I'm sure there were many harpers in Israel. But here's David, who is picked to go and play before King Saul. And he played so well that the spirit left King Saul. And, I mean, the evil spirit. So, I would say skill or talent is so key. Whether you are working together as a band, or you're working together as a choir, or as a solo artist, as they're called nowadays, it's so critical that you work on being good.
Wow.
There's a major issue, especially in the church today, Nancy,
Yes.
of what I would call mediocre talent or mediocre art. You know, you don't spend time being good or working at your talent. And so you come to God, you know, with this mentality, God will just accept me, you know, God accepts
Just as
everybody,
I
you know,
am.
yeah, just as So you realize that if you get to that point, you'll actually be mocking, the nature and character of God. You'll almost be saying that God receives mediocre work, you don't have to work at it. That is a very wrong mentality. It's a bad way to look at ministry. And I would say it's not just with music, even the way we give to God. The way people approach tithes and offerings?
Sure.
Especially offerings. You go to the shop and so you buy your bread. You have 200 shilling note. So you buy your bread, you buy your other stuff for the kitchen, your milk, and so you are left, let's say, with 15 shillings.
Yes.
And so you think, oh, let me put it, somewhere. And on Sunday, I'm going to give God the 15 bob.
Yes.
So the shopkeeper gets the bulk. Your primary needs are taken care of with big money. But when it comes to the things of God, you want to throw, mabaki, as we say in Kiswahili. The refuse are what you give to God.
Yes.
I think it's a very, very wrong mentality. A story is told about a father who had two sons.
Yes.
And they both completed high school. One of them did very well with straight A's. The other one was like a D+.
Oh my.
And so the father says to the one who got straight A's, oh wow, you did so well. Why don't you go to medical school? I think it would be nice for you to become a doctor. And then he turns to the one who had the D+ and says, I know, he worked very hard, but a D+ is okay, but why don't you try Bible school?
Oh my.
Yeah, or a theological college. And I'm not saying that God cannot use you at a theological college or Bible school if you got a D+. My point is, why is it that we think the so-called good brains we give to medicine or the study of all these many things? The worldly things, so to speak. And what is of specialty to God's work, like theological studies or Bible training, you give the poorer brains. It's a very, very bad attitude. And Malachi addressed it in Malachi chapter 1, verse 6 to 14. Okay. It's the priests that were, doing this. Yes. And so Malachi asks and says, you try doing that to your governor. And you see if he'll be impressed with you. I'm not happy with you. If you have, good animals and you have lame animals, and then you take the lame animals and you give those to me, and the good animals you give to the governor, I'm not impressed with you. And so I think that's what I can say to the question. You develop your talent, let it pave way for you before not just the kings, but the media and the DJs and the church fellowship, and let people celebrate what is good, something you've worked at. Go to school or do your practice, and let's give God something that is worthy his name.
Wow, thank you so much, Reuben Kigame. I believe that question is well tackled, and it is going to help so many people out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
KMTV, Truth, Love and Creativity.